Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark-Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Trey, we got two things going on in the world, whereas one, a lot more people are starting to walk back into the office, work every day in their cubicle nation. But even if they're working a few days or a whole week, we also are running up through an election, which spurred a thought for me that comes up all the time is how do you discuss these tough topics at work? It's like never bring up, religion and politics, but those kind of questions or what everybody's thoughts are on anything now triggers somebody and makes them mad and gets them upset. So what's your advice for how somebody can discuss tough topics at work?
Well, first, I'm going to risk triggering somebody and making somebody mad by taking this up a notch and say that not only are politics and elections one of the hot topics at work people are talking about, but also lately, sex is becoming discussed much more often in the office. And just read an article about how Gen Z is, I forget how many times more likely to talk about their sex life in the office. So
HR departments love this.
Exactly. They're just greasing their palms for this one. But so, there's it's such a blurred line because it all depends on where you work and who you're around. But I think if you're going to try to take the wise approach, you got to be really careful because you could be seen as the oversharer. And usually people aren't going to tell you that when they've got that image of you. You could also be seen as maybe less mature, less responsible. A lot of assumptions get made when you start sharing things that are kind of on the edge, especially if you're in a work environment where people aren't used to hearing about such topics. So I would say get really close to the people before you actually start sharing some of these takes, because I would hate for somebody to hold back their own career and their own progress just for trying to be themselves too early. But and maybe you have something specific for this, but if you're going to bring up something kind of controversial, I would first ask permission, say, hey, can we talk about something maybe a little edgy here? And then just kind of gauge the room before you go there, because if you just charge right in, you don't know what you're going to get. What do you think?
In the society we're in today, I've got really two takes. In the society we're in today, it takes very little to divide people.
Yep.
Most importantly is find commonality first in your team.
Mm-hmm.
You can find a way to divide a team or two people or 10 people or whatever, however many people are near you. It takes nothing to find that, but find the commonality. And if you can hold on to the roots of that and maybe the purpose and why you're there, it helps you deal with the other stuff. Now, we've been giving advice to oversharers for a century, and people still overshare too much. What I will say, not to play off your point, but to come up with what I'd like to tell everybody who gets offended is lighten up a little bit, because a lot of times it just means somebody else has a differing opinion in you. And you know what? That's okay. It hurts when you're so insulated that you can't when you take a question on something that's a sensitive topic as some sort of attack. It's not. It's somebody else's mixed experience in their life that made them think that way. It doesn't mean that they're attacking you. And so many people take things today as an attack. So one, have a thicker skin like a shark does, and at least have your ears open to what somebody else's opinion is. And two, just remember what is at the core of why you are in whatever kind of relationship you're in with somebody, and that will help deal with some of it.
Yeah, look for the stories. All of our life stories lead us up to where we are in this point today and why we say and think the way we do. So use a comment that you initially want to balk at, use as an opportunity to ask a question and listen to the story of maybe how they got to that point.
Well, so, and a lot of it goes back to respect. Respect other people's opinions, even if you disagree with them heavily.
Yes.
Most people have a reason, and it may be right or wrong, but you got to respect what their opinion is, even if it's cuckoo and you want to punch them in the face, which you shouldn't do. So anyway, see you on the other side.
Thank thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.